Well, my viewers, first thing I want to do is apologize for the dirty windshield. I clean it later on in the video, but it's really strange that this windshield got dirty so quickly, because I did a video just yesterday where I cleaned the windshield really good. And here I am going down this dirty, dusty road again, and it's already dirty. You know, one thing about making these videos when you have like a dash cam, or just in my case where I have my camera just sitting on a tripod up front, is that windshield has to be crystal clear. Otherwise you're going to pick up all sorts of dust on the windshield. And by the way, I'm not really driving down the road all that fast in reality. It just looks like I am because I have it double speed. So let's say I'm doing 25, it looks like I'm doing 50 right here. And then later on in the video, on a paved road where the speed limit is 60 miles an hour, it looks like I'm doing 120. I had it on a high speed mainly so that the video didn't have to be all that long, because after all, I'm driving from Bell, Florida to Lake City, Florida. Now, not all of the roads are always dusty and dirty like that here in Bell, mainly because, see, it hadn't rained in a while. So the dirt roads here in Bell, Florida are made of lime rock, and of course what that does is it creates like a lime rock dust over the years. And I mean, when it rains, of course, then all that lime rock dust settles and doesn't become such a problem. It's really kind of funny. You can always tell who lives on a dirt road around here and who doesn't, because the vehicles are always dirty. All you have to do is drive down a dirt road here and it becomes obvious that you live down a dirt road, because all that dust and everything just gets on the cars. Not just the tires, but I mean it's just all over your car. You pretty much have to clean your car about every day or so, so that it doesn't look so darn bad. So you see the windshield is slightly coated right now with some of that dust, and for some reason or another I don't really notice it to be a problem until later in the video. I want to share with my regular viewers out there what my plans are for this channel in the near future. I'm going to start a couple of more playlists. One is going to be what I'm going to call an old man rant list, or where I'm maybe driving around and I'm talking about things that has been on my chest. And another one of the playlists is going to be where I locate real estate, or should I say homes or mobile homes that are on land for under $100,000, or maybe slightly above that. So please look forward to those playlists as well. I mean, they'll come over as just a normal video, okay, that I'm posting every single time, because I'm not going to create more channels just for that. I'm going to just create separate playlists. I really don't know why some people make different channels for different things, but that's, you know, something they want to do. I'm just creating different playlists. And so that I want you to please take note of those playlists. I mean, if need be, I don't know, I guess I could email people on those separate playlists. If that's something you really want me to do, I could, you know, do that. Just need your email address. But right now I'm just creating 2 more playlists. And for those of you out there wondering, so what's going on with my trailer project? It's still going. It's just that right now I have a few other things that I have to take care of before I can get back on that. But we'll get back on track here, probably within the next week or two. This is a reaction video to the many anti-boomer videos that are out there on YouTube. You know, one thing I want to talk about is why prices, we'll say, of everything, mainly like housing, insurances, things like that, have gotten to be more expensive, out of proportion to say what it was back in the 1970s, or even the 1960s, 1980s, maybe even. I can tell you why. And I mean, a lot of the young people blame this whole thing on the boomers, okay? Because, you know, I guess we're somehow the perfect scapegoat. I can tell you, because I have lived it. I have lived the time. And what it is the boogeyman. That is why. That is exactly why everything has got to be more expensive, out of proportion. And so that's who you can blame. Boogeyman may not be the only reason, but is a huge contributing factor. Now, who is the boogeyman? Boogeyman is actually a nondescript person, okay? Somebody will say that is evil or an evil doer. And for example, when I was a kid, we used to be able to walk or ride our bicycles to school. And I mean, my grammar school was a half a mile away. We walked to school or rode a bicycle. And when I went to high school, it was 3.5 miles away. Guess what I did? I walked it or rode my bike. So, I mean, why is it that my mother and father was pretty much the greatest generation? Why is it that they felt comfortable sending us off to school without them having to be helicopter parents, having to drive us to school or make sure that we took a bus? Well, first of all, we didn't even have buses in the western portion of Phoenix where I grew up. Buses just didn't run out there. It wasn't needed or something. I really don't know what the deal was, but it wasn't a thing. So you see, that's an expense now that has occurred. Now, why do you think that kids have to be transported from their home to the school, even if the school is just down the street? Well, it's because of the boogeyman. People are afraid that the boogeyman, okay, is going to reach out and kidnap their children, and it's a valid fear, we'll say, because it happens. But why is it that the boogeyman is a threat now when the boogeyman was not a threat to children then? Are there more boogeymen out there in the world today? Probably so. The other, okay, so you see that problem right there has cascaded into other problems. Now, the other problems that are occurring, okay, that are happening is because kids are not able to walk or ride their bicycles to school, they are not getting proper exercise. Hence, they are overweight, and they're not eating properly. Now, I'm not going to say we ate great when I was a kid, okay? We had our candies and all this other kind of thing. But
why is it that all of a sudden kids these days are more overweight than they were when I was a kid? It's obvious because kids these days are not getting the exercise. So you see, right there's another reason for health care rising. The cost of health care has gone up ridiculously. I could count the amount of times I went to the doctor on one hand when I was a kid. Throughout all them years, okay? Because in order for us to go to the doctor, we had to be seriously hurt or who knows, I mean, having an appendage ready to fall off or something or be on our deathbed. Because, mom and dad wasn't going to take us for the sniffles. And that's what happens now. People take their kids to the doctor every time they get the sniffles. And so now also, because they're not getting the proper exercises, they are getting sick more often. They're coming down with diseases that normally wouldn't occur to them until they hit maybe even middle age, like diabetes, high blood pressure. Okay, so I'm going to blame us boomers, I'm going to say, on that part of the problem, that we became the helicopter parents that our parents were not. I think that the tipping point was on July 27th, 1981, when Adam Walsh was abducted from a Sears department store in Hollywood, Florida. His head was later found in a canal. You can look at the details online if you want. His father, John Walsh, later became a famous advocate for crime victims and missing children. His movie and television show scared people into locking down their children. Ever since then, you're not a good parent unless you keep your kids on a short leash. Nowadays, our cell phones notify us every time a child is abducted, reinforcing the notion of the boogeyman. Most of the time, the kidnapper is one of the parents acting stupid during a custody battle. Still, the public is notified, and most people just regard the alert as an annoyance. You can call wolf only so many times. Now, the boogeyman, like I said, it is, it is a problem. There are pedophiles out there that would take advantage of your children walking to school. I don't remember them being even talked about when I was a kid. That wasn't even something, that wasn't even a thing. And so why is it that now it is a thing? I've been told that by other people about my age that if somebody were a deviant of some sort, mom and dad would take care of it themselves. Okay, before it would become a problem. Because our parents were World War II veterans and they were part of the greater generation or greatest generation. They took matters in their own hands. They didn't worry about the law. Matter of fact, I don't even remember the police ever driving down the street where I lived. I mean, if you ever saw a police car, which I don't ever remember seeing when I was a kid, you looked. I would have looked and been, wow, what's going on here? Because that just wasn't a thing. I mean, now you saw the police if you went, say, downtown Phoenix or something like that here and there, or maybe out on the highway, but you didn't really see them driving through, say, a residential area, unless, of course, they were called for something, which I don't ever remember the cops being called on our street. Our society is now more litigious than ever before because our parents took matters in their own hands. They didn't wait for, we'll say, law enforcement to deal with it. They just took care of it themselves. I don't know where they stacked the bodies or nothing like that, but let's just say they took care of business. So, how do I attribute the higher price of housing to the boogeyman? Well, that's pretty easy, really. People have decided that they want to live in nicer areas. So, in order to live in a nicer area, you have to pay a lot more money. Now, that means that there's fewer boogeymen living in that area because law enforcement is generally out there looking for them. We'll say if you live somewhere inner city, chances are you have higher crime. The criminals feel empowered to do their criminal activities because they know that people are generally not going to take matters in their own hands because they expect to be able to simply make a phone call and have law enforcement take care of everything for them. That's not really the way things happen in reality, but that's the way they think. People need to get out of that mindset that law enforcement is going to take care of the criminals every single time. The other way I attribute that the cost of housing has gone up because of the boogeyman is because the cost of everything else has gone up. The cost of like I said, insurance, like your health insurance has gone up. Because the hospitals and health care providers are overwhelmed by people taking their children in for diseases that shouldn't even be. Because everything goes up exponentially, alongside of everything else. So if healthcare goes up, that means the insurance for your home goes up, okay? And the cost of the home goes up, the cost of food goes up, just on and on. It just cascades right down the line. Again, children these days, not only are they not allowed to walk or ride their bicycle to school, they are not even allowed to go play outside unless it's maybe out in their front yard or their backyard. There's a very short leash that parents put on their children. As a matter of fact, if you had a parent that would allow their children to roam the neighborhood any which way that they wanted, or just free range your children, like we were free range back in the 50s and 60s, those parents would probably be put in jail because of the threat of the boogeyman. See, because if you don't believe in the threat of the boogeyman, then you're not playing the game. And they expect everybody to play the game. You see, there's actually been parents put in jail because they made their kid walk home from school. Parents these days need to get over that. They've got to get over it. We have got to eliminate the boogeyman. So, what I've got to say here is that the boogeyman has got to go because the boogeyman is destroying our young and is destroying our general economy.